Now, something very interesting has happened. We've had the first Aphelios sighting on 10.1. That's going to go to Kramer. And Kramer is going to be the main carry for LGD. Now, looking across, we talked about the Pantheon and Elise straight off banned away by LGD. And we're looking at a combination between...
I love the Yasuo ban from LNG as well. When you see something like a Grog, it's very common, the Brom to pair along with it.
Yuuki's a huge Yasuo player as well. And we're seeing Aurelia in the mid lane, one of Yuuki's most favorite champions to play there. Very interesting start off here. I can't wait to get in game here. What it does look like is both mid jungles have a lot of kill potential, and we're going to see Aphelios finally pop off.
Now, just a note to everyone as well, we are going into this game in full. Of course, in Suzhou, this did start at 7 o'clock. So, quick look at the pick and bans, quick look at the champions' choices. I like that Maple has a confidence to start off with something like the LeBlanc. But as you mentioned, eyes on the first Aphelios of the LPL. Let's get into it. We're in Suzhou, we're in LNG's brand new arena. And they're going to see if they can warm the home crowd with a win here to kick off the LPL.
Oh, they're already throwing out the white flags.
That's a good sign, Clevet. Now, of course, LGD's home arena in Hangzhou. Their fans here, a bit limited. LNG have the home crowd advantage, but we're speaking a lot about blue side and red side, Clement. LGD, blue side Aphelios, we talked about the powerful picks that could be achieved, and it looks like Aphelios was the one.
Aphelios is a champion that you can go really in-depth with. There's so many different combinations that he can pull off with his skill rotations. And I will generally talk about what I've seen from Aphelios players. The most useful combinations have been the Calibrum with the Gravitum for cast potential. Moonshot has a very long range at 1450.
Yep.
And then most of your DPS combinations come from the other three weapons. So the way you want to set that up is, I see a lot of players actually just trying to expend their Severum early on, get their DPS combos, guns aligned with each other, and let's just try to lane with the early Calibrum and Gravitum, try to get ganks with those going.
Yeah, the ability to really lane with Calibrum is super easy, isn't it?
There's also a big circle around it. I love that.
Makes it so easy. The best part. And, you know, talking to some people as well, looking at Gravitum is that gun that you need in a competitive environment like this, right? Like, Gravitum works, but only if your team works with it, if that makes sense. We are getting a closer look at the runes here. No big surprise. Conqueror is the way to go. Overheal and Bloodline attached within as well. So with Severum, Kramer is going to be a sustaining machine.
This is a very different build from what we typically see. Because of your ability to heal yourself up with Severum, it's actually quite a high heal. Most of the Aphelioses do go with press the attack instead.
Okay.
So this one is basically trying to play towards a close range Aphelios.
Yep.
He's going to be... the Severum already has an overheal effect to the ability, so you're going to stack that up with another overheal rune.
We'll see if it changes the build, though, because if you talk about press the attack, when Aphelios start, I will hold that for a second, because XX is running into Peanut in the jungle. He's gone over the wall. Peanut now going to have to body slam out of the way, but look at where the top laner is. Colt can come down here if XX continues forward, makes the move, postures aggressively, and XX backs away.
This is something that Peanut mentioned himself during the Demacia Cup interviews. He said, well, I was getting invaded on very deep into my jungle when I was backing, and that's the moment I realized I was now playing in the LPL. We do chase relentlessly if you're playing something like the Gragas, you know, the Jarvan with his auto attacks is going to have a sizable lead. Also the Conqueror's build coming in from Xiongxiong as well. So he's really going to force the advantage. And also Aurelia's not going to be able to help out against the LeBlanc early.
But this is nice from Peanut. He's walked in top side, immediate
kill.
Melee body slam into the kill. Colt is set up to succeed with first blood.
Yeah, Xiongxiong thought he had already evicted Peanut from his top side of the jungle. But Peanut, you know, just had the patience to walk around there. Good win on his side.
Now, XX is looking for the invade, though. This is going to be an issue. Peanut gets caught out. Flag and drag, easy body slam out. Might give away the Gromp, but he helped get first blood for his top laner. That's more than a worthy sacrifice.
And just going back into the lane, of course, we're going to have to talk about Aphelios a little bit more. His gun rotation for the first round is standardized, so you're going to get Calibrum, Severum, Gravitum, and you're going to go into the Infernum and then to the Crescendum later on. And how you choose to manipulate your first rotation actually matters a lot. The general idea is you want to keep the gun that you're going to use later in your offhand and just have it whenever the scenario pops up. So generally, team fighting, Infernum is going to be your most reliable weapon. A lot of the one-shot potentials that you've seen in all the YouTube highlight clips.
With the ultimate, yeah.
Yep, have come from Moonlight Vigil.
Well, he's on to Infernum right now. He's got Gravitum as well. And like I was talking about before, the combination, maybe more so with Chance here in the bottom lane and the Brom, that's how it seems to fit in so far. So we're past Severin, we're past Calibrum, and we've got ourselves a bit of AoE clear here to push up Kramer in the lane.
It's actually a little bit difficult to see the gun rotations. I really wish they would implement this into the spectator somehow, but for now we're going to have to
become a developer, man.
Yep, we're going to have to take some educated guesses.
Well, I'll keep you informed. I know the colors, Clement. I know the looks. We're Gucci at this point. XX, however, is not because he's standing on a ward. So the Jarvan spotted out. Peanut's here for the counter gank as well. I will say so far, Peanut has been in the right place at the right time throughout this first game.
Yep, always trying to match the ganks. And even though he was bullied out early, I feel like he's in a perfect position. This is something that happens a lot when your enemy just pushes in the wave and causes it to bounce. Like, enemy junglers could be anywhere.
Oh, here you go. Gravitum, the combo here with Infernum, does get the double root down. Peanut still doesn't come out of the brush, though. Doesn't want to reveal himself, can't use the opportunity, and I guess LGD just catch the wave and go on with it.
Yeah, that was actually a pretty safe play coming in from LGD. They didn't want to risk the potential of fighting in a massive minion wave.
True.
And just with the combo that Aphelios pulled off there, it was the Dusk Wave. You land an extra auto attack with your offhand gun, Gravitum on everyone. A very common combo that you see in these ganking situations. And one of the things that really makes him incredibly powerful is his ability to get long-range lockdown in the lane.
Yeah. Push through the minion wave, get that Gravitum combo. Clement, while we are at this point, while we do have a bit of a lull, we didn't get a chance to talk a little bit about the rosters of LGD and LNG. More so LGD because Peanut is the big name to pair with Kramer. Everyone should know Yuuki by now as well, but Chance and Colt, rookies who've come up from the LDL in their own individual rights.
Yeah, Colt is the one that I find pretty interesting. He's coming over from EDG Young, their LDL team, and he's very different from their previous top laner in Lies in that he plays basically solo push champions. He's going to go for the Aatrox, he's going to go for the Renekton. He has a lot of AD split pushers instead of the team fight that we saw from Lies. And the question for me is, how is LGD going to develop? Which direction are they going to take? Are they going to go for the crazy top side where they have Yuuki, Peanut, Colt constantly taking risks, trying to play high variance and try to snowball the game? Or are they going to play more towards Kramer, which last split was actually more what they were tending towards.
It was more successful.
Yeah,
call it what you will.
It was hard to name success for LGD. Yeah. That's what I'm going to say. Ooh, very good trade by Flandre.
Yeah, look, Colt won't get pulled back in. Flandre does smack him right on back. But while we are talking about the rookies, you know, individual lane talents, what they need in the top lane was maybe a winning chance. Maybe Colt gives that to them. Right now, we're going to find out if he can survive.
He still does have his ultimate, and he can pop suddenly Instant Fury from that one. You have to be very careful when diving Renekton, so they're just going to let the wave push out once more. Xiongxiong does have that CC combo lined up.
He's skeptical. He's thinking, hang on a minute, what's going on here? Now, not level 6 on Xiongxiong, but he does have Flag and Drag. It's an easy kill if Flandre flashes for him.
I think the spirit of Mouse is talking to him now. Don't go forward.
XX is being super patient, but there's a lot of time. You see pings are coming down. Well read. That was instant and beautiful.
I just love how Colt was scratching his head at the same time. He actually scratched it 3 times, and unfortunately for Xiongxiong, he came out when his hands were on the mouse.
And now Peanut's up towards the top side of the map. He's got level 6. XX does as well, but who's more impactful? Ult used by Colt. He flashes immediately. This Renekton is massive, but he doesn't get the kill as Flandre sent away with the explosive cut. Peanut doesn't help his top laner, and Yuuki can't find Flandre. Instead, they turn for Maple. There's the Vanguard's edge right on top of the LeBlanc. Ignite there as well. They'll at least trade off with the kill going to Yuuki.
Yeah, Maple must hate his life at that point. We did set the flash away from Flandre. That was absolutely necessary because Yuuki could have came in, just get the Blade Surge reset.
Yep.
Looking at the combinations that we do have right here, Severum is the best charger you're going to get.
Solar Flare, but Chance just says door is closed. That was very anticlimactic. So, Clement, what else you want to tell me about Aphelios?
Your best DPS combo on single targets is to use Onslaught to charge up the Chakram, or it's called Crescendum, the gun.
Okay.
And the bonus damage actually crits, and you can get 360% bonus damage from it. Now, just to take a look at this top side, gank, Cult outplays it. Very close on just snagging the kill outright. Maple comes in, but unfortunate. Wow, they actually, I actually think they denied each other's combos there. So
a little bit.
Yeah, wasn't able to get the distort over the Cataclysm.
I will say, unfortunately for Colt, Peanut sends the top laner away before it's a confirmed kill. So close but no cigar. And LNG, moments later, move to the bottom side, pick up the first Ocean of the game. Cloud is going to be next. So we're left with a Mountain or an Infernal Soul here in game 1.
And we better get used to this. Wahaha energy drinks. Actually, they're fruit juice, I think. Fruit-flavored water.
Okay. Wait, how does that work? Is it just flavored, or are there chunks of fruit in there as well?
We can buy one and test it out.
Okay, all right. We might not be able to buy one if they're already here, Clement.
That's a good point. I don't see them on my desk.
Okay, well, we'll go to the other studio. I think down there they have them. Well, at this point, fruit aside, I would say I'm looking towards mid lane for the side of LGD. We didn't get a chance to really outline full win conditions, but we'll have to pause again while Rift Herald starts.
Yep, this is going to be... actually, LGD still has a number advantage here. It's going to take a long time for Duan to actually reach this part of the map.
Is this going to reset Clement? I don't think it's far enough out just yet. Okay, I was right.
LGD.
Well, hang on, Clement. The split just started, all right?
I know. The reason that I didn't rate LGD higher was it never seems to just be the issue of talent on this team. They've had great rosters. You have to think about like 2016 LGD when they had like Marin and they had Imp, and that team still wasn't relevant. So a lot of the times for LGD, it really has to be see it to believe it for me. And I want to see how they develop. I want to see if they go with their high variance tendencies. No one's ever doubted their potential. You know, if they've taken down IG, they were one of the only teams to defeat FPX in summer. But at the same time, they only had 3 match wins throughout the entire summer split. So, you know, they have very good win conditions in Kramer. A lot of times, they just aren't consistent enough.
I mean, they need to show coordination here, because this Rift Herald's gone back and forth. Eventually is secured by Peanut, but to get the Herald, LNG are going to zone them away. Remember, Herald only sits there now
only
for
20 seconds.
20 seconds, that's right. There's the Moonlight Vigil, but it does absolutely nothing at this point. Duan is going to be poked down. They're going to go in for the engage. The Soul Flare comes down as well.
Is anyone going to take
Kramer.
it?
He's still got the AoE. He turns to Severum in the last moment, sends out the turret. Kramer is still alive. Flashes in, survives. That was nice from LGD. They clean up the rest of the fight, and all 5 walk home.
1 for 3 trade out right there. LGD actually, you know, the start was a little bit messy right there. We didn't see a lot of skill shots actually being landed, but I do believe that Chance did get a good interruption onto Asura, blocked out most of the damage, and LNG couldn't coordinate all of their damage on a single target to take it down.
At least they were able to deny the Rift Herald. LGD could not pick that one up in time, so you'll take a small win, but 3 kills is more than enough here, and Yuuki's looking for the solo kill onto Asura. Vanguard's Edge not available, nor is the Ignite, but that's the flash burn from Misfortune.
Nearly a kill in that one already. And just to look where the spoils of war have gone to, Yuuki's already sitting at 2-0-2, getting back into the team fight once more.
And we'll have a look again, Clement, because Duan was the one they started on. It was a weak Moonlight Vigil.
Good spacing coming out from LNG. Stop that one. And yeah, they had to switch targets right there. Very good job by Cult going in and just stopping all the damage that could come out on the likes of Flandre. He did land onto Aphelios, but wasn't able to finish off the combo. And very good interruption.
No, Yuuki benefits the most from that as well. 2-0-2. Has himself a Phage, already had the Tiamat, so building towards the early Trinity Force. Meanwhile, Colt has the Black Cleaver in inventory. So he's feeling good. The top laner who is making his debut here in the LPL is off to a very good start.
Yep, and they're chasing Flandre away, denying him from the full wave once more. And I think this is what you're going to see from LNG much more often, is them trying to sacrifice farm on Flandre's part, trying to shift it over towards Asura. Asura has proven himself to be a great AD carry. He's also a very noted Vayne player. But what happened basically in LNG's summer split was that their mid-jungle was pretty much absent in a lot of games. They didn't have the best synergy between SOFM and Plex, and their bot lane suffered heavily for it.
Well, Flandre is going to suffer again. You talk about taking away resources. He's just going to lose it all. Flashes away. World Ender as well. And now they're going to have full control over this bottom lane turret. They're going to trade off on what LNG were able to do topside and push that gold lead towards 2K.
A strong start from LGD coming straight out of the gates. I also want to point out that at this point, Yuuki can probably solo Flandre with a very comfortable lead.
Yep.
He's already sitting 2 levels above, coming in from the mid lane. That just propels LGD into a very stable 1-3-1 composition, and they're going to have a lot of catch potential coming onto that. Both Renekton and Aurelia are going to have great collapses when it comes down to it.
Gragas as well to add to that mix. I mean, Peanut so far, so good. And speak of the devil, positioning around mid lane towards this dragon. Kramer has the shove with chance, so LNG looking for a pick, but that means they're going to lose bottom side river control. They have no vision there right now, and LGD making their way over to secure the Cloud Dragon.
Not really contested whatsoever. LNG
okay, Infernal.
Can't do anything bot lane.
Clement, we got a hot rift again. We're back to square one. They like Infernals today. They like burning the brush, burning the bush. Shout out to everyone back home in Australia.
I hope you're all doing fine.
Well, man, dude, that place is on fire.
Yeah.
Sucks.
Hope you're doing better than the koalas there.
Well, you and me both. 4 minutes 30 until we find out who lit the fire. And at this point, 3 minutes 40 until Baron comes up as well. I think we only saw the one Rift Herald, Clement. As far as I'm concerned, my memory is not what it used to be. But one Herald this game. He said a priority shift between teams in the LPL. We'll have to see how it stacks up. No turret plating whatsoever this game.
Pretty slow going right now. I feel like LGD could try and overstack some of these side lanes to find picks. There's not much that Flandre can do at this point. He shouldn't be allowed to just pick up farm uncontested.
Yep.
And what they should do is just, stick to a 1-3-1 and have Peanut and Chance roaming around the map. It's very easy for them to get kills. And also Kramer, if you have the right combination, it's actually fairly easy to wave clear for Aphelios. He has all the tools he needs.
True. Essence Reaver in inventory. Zeal there as well.
That's the typical build that we do see is Essence Reaver plus Runon's Hurricane. Okay. Now you can apply multiple marks, especially on Gravitum, with the split arrows. So that's always a favorite. And then Aphelios, one of his weaknesses is that he is very mana hungry.
Yeah.
So you do want to get the Essence Reaver in.
That, and he doesn't really have an escape, is another one I'd add to that as well.
True.
Very true.
Yeah, I'm just thinking like, okay, but why Essence Reaver?
LGD topside now. You're talking about capitalizing on the side lanes. Well, Maple, very hard to find at this point. Has also, mind you, actually started with the hose too. So, interesting builds coming out today from our mid lane mages, but it seems like a lot of mid laners love the hose. Yep, and we've seen this from Xiaohu and Damasha Cup as well. And the answer is, even if you're a LeBlanc building the hose and Banshees, you can still one-shot an AD carry. Yep. Okay, Colt actually might be caught out here. 1v3 has to go into Dominus, or rather, will just die the Solar Flare to get the kill. And they force the flush out of him as well. Side lane achieved, while second Rift Herald now in combat. It's LGD starting. That's a very impactful kill, because what it means is that it flips the matchup between Flandre and Colt at this point. He's going to get that extra tower, probably an extra wave here. And LGD, it's going to be harder for them to actually commit to the 1-3-1 at this point. They do get the Herald, however, so we're going to see how they use that to balance it back. Okay, Herald still in combat. Red buff taken by Asura, looking towards Peanut. There we go. And this is going to go down. So, second Herald will actually be achieved. Someone will get it. And it's Peanut. But where does he drop it at this point? That was probably my least favorite change on the Rift. I really liked watching teams just stand there for 40 seconds. What, looking for the Herald? Yeah, it was pretty funny. It didn't happen that much, to be quite fair. But it would have been a very different case if it was still there for 40 seconds. Peanut drops it mid. Okay, Mid turret's going to be shredded down here. This is forcing a response from LNG. They've brought XX back to the mid lane. Maple's back, and so has Flandre. This Herald could get a second charge at this point. LGD is sticking around.
Yeah, it's actually very rare to see Heralds get second charges these days. It does take a lot more of its HP damage, up to 66%.
I mean, will they let it? They back away. Okay. That's very fair. You've got the Renekton in the side lane, though. Colt's still pushing. Remember, Infernal, that's the soul for this game, coming up in a minute.
LNG still within striking distance. I feel like both teams, you know, they're both going for catch-related compositions. It's very easy for them to start skirmishes, but neither team really has the confidence to push out in force, and I feel like they're just hanging around and waiting for side lane plays to happen. Whoever goes bot is probably going to pick up some benefits, because the rest of the other members are really not in position to make any more plays.
It's just simply Duan going around, getting deep vision, and denying roams here from LGD, it feels like. At this point, when that dragon comes up, we'll see if there's any contestation. Kramer's like, this is my blue buff now. I will take this. Every time we switched around, he's been sticking to Calibrum and Severum in the laning phase.
Yeah, it's pretty common to see you just use up your Severum, and Calibrum is actually pretty decent for team fights, even though it doesn't have a lot of special effects.
Yep. Simply for the range, right?
Yep. 650 range, you match Caitlyn.
Well,
this is probably bad for Kramer. Oh,
he has the Runans right now as well, remember. With the Scythe Pistol equipped, he's just running in. Duan is the one called out, actually takes it to his advantage. Tanks up a little bit. There's the Misfortune ult. Explosive cast from Peanut was fantastic. While Colt's taking up the back line, Kramer is shredding whoever walks towards him. They may find chance, but there you go. The ult onto XX and Flandre does absolutely nothing. Kramer walks out at full health, but LNG are damaged.
Now, it is 2 members hit. If you get the entire team, every one of them will then spawn another Infernum proc. It does need to be pretty much stacking up on each other, and that was a great play from Peanut. I really like his awareness onto Asura's position. Bullet time almost instantly stopped, and that's going to give them a free Infernal.
Yep, no one going near it. Infernal to start the ball rolling. That's number 1. 2 more to go for LGD.
I like how Kramer has been constantly going for the Infernum Moon Vigil combo.
Sure.
Yeah. You don't really see a lot of other combos. Moon Vigil with Crescendum, it's pretty much just for the stacks, and Gravitum is the other one that you see sometimes.
I guess when we say this as well, it's just what we see, right? Like what we see, because I said it before, and I'm like, oh, I've seen this quite a lot. Duan, hang on a second. Might be called out. But you have to deal with Gravitum at some point, you know?
True.
And I'll be honest, Maple over the wall, a little bit dangerous there. Yuuki does have the Trinity Force and is pretty heavy at this point in the game. LNG have matched them though. And with Baron up and available, LGD are forcing it, but Duan, even locked down here, has to be careful.
Yeah, what LNG need to do in these team fights is actually try to force out Peanut's ultimate before they can set up the bullet time. It's going to be very difficult, and I actually favor LGD's team composition in these fights more and more because they have better access into the backline onto Misfortune.
Big items as well. Explosive cast onto Duan. Here comes the Solar Flare. Locks down to the Vanguard's edge onto Flandre. Keeps him busy while meanwhile, remember, Kramer is untouched and Conquerors is procced. Flandre flashes once again on the side of Peanut and Yuuki. The Cataclysm locks down the mid laner of LGD. He goes golden while the rest of them come back in. That's a beautiful bullet time. That sweeps through, shoots them in the back, and LGD have to run now because everyone's dead. Peanut will join the death parade as LNG turn their attention to Baron.
That was a beautiful engage coming in from Duan. He basically went in on the enemy siege team as soon as his Gargoyle Stoneplate gets up. That's why Leona is the #1 win rate champion in Demacia Cup.
Oh, hang on. Kramer has ulti.
No, he doesn't.
Okay. Kramer has his pistol.
Okay. I was like, I'm pretty sure he doesn't.
Okay.
Duan might be going down here.
Well, he's behind Baron. He's taking a bit of damage at 1k. They are now. He's running in. Kramer has the Scythe Pistol. He's spinning and he's winning. But Maple will eventually get out. It was only the clone as Duan will be the sacrificial lamb. Asura flashes over as well. But the main thing is LNG get the Baron.
Well done there. It was a little bit dicey. I was just waiting to see if Asura would actually pop his flash or not. But they do get it in the end and avoid disaster. Really well done by LNG, just going in on the timings. And a very important part is that you can see bullet time being undisrupted was such a massive difference in the team fights.
That's right. We've seen it all day long. That's Dominus from Colt. Okay. There's a time for everything. And the camera's now like, what did you use it for?
That was his teammates, I believe.
Yes. Okay. Well, Clement, take away from that. Tell me the fight once more.
Yeah, so we actually missed the initial engage. It looked like Duan was going down, but with Gargoyle's throwing plate, he was able to absorb so much damage and then just trade back. Unfortunately for LGD, the team basically split up, and you can see their front line and back line basically was reversed in that fight. They snowball a great one. Baron's in the hands of LNG, and I want to see if this allows at least Flandre and Maple to create more pick opportunities. They can use these side lane waves, they can get it pushed, wait until LGD has to respawn, and then the map opens up completely.
I'm waiting for that Baron to expire here from LNG as well. You got a minute 20 on the next Dragon too. And you can see Maple towards that side lane. Now has his Morellonomicon as the second item. Flandre towards the top. Yuuki is still big though. And at this point, even with the 2-item Maple, no one really wants to deal with him directly.
Yeah, this is actually just the exact build that we've seen from Xiaohu in the Demacia Cup. You go Morellonomicons. You basically deny the chance for 80 carries to use heal to get back to full health, and you just try to pop them late game. That's
fair, and this game very relevant. You know, we talked about
overheal.
Kramer with overheal, that's right. Bloodline is in the kit as well. Gragas, Renekton. Yuuki at some point, even though it looks like a Titanic Hydra building. Oh my! Somebody save Kramer. XX is like, damn! Down you go! Two-man solar flare onto Peanut too. And LNG get bored of waiting around, so they say it's time for LGD to die.
That was a great find on Asura. I believe that was double up being found and then instantly into the ultimate. You can actually crit with your ultimate as well. It does 20% extra damage. And a great find there, just forcing out Aphelios and getting 2 towers.
Right time, right place. Asura does it again. I mean, this is the 80 carry from 2019 that we hyped up so much as a rookie coming into the split who averted eyes and said, wow, this guy means business. And yet again, he starts off the split in the same way. That's a big momentum shift here for LNG. It's a 4K gold lead. It's a Dragon at the ready for them. And it's another turret with Maple getting the solo gold in the side lane.
Yeah, there's no real chance for Colt to actually catch up onto Maple. He's playing very respectful at the moment. I just kind of feel bad for LGD because they had a very sizable lead in the early game. With that 3-for-1 trade around the Herald, they should have been able to open up the map and get more catches. But wait a minute. What? Okay, never mind. There was no Q.
Are you sure? What? There's no way. Look, maybe it's a spectator bug because there's no way you do that much damage with
that's pretty ridiculous.
One piece of ult. No way. Either way, look, Asura has that much damage with Infinity Edge, Essence Reaver, now the Phantom Dancer. Gives him that extra bit of oomph. Versus Kramer, who has himself a Lord Dominic's Regard as his 3rd item. So
and I really like the awareness coming in from Asura as well. He knows that Baron is coming up, so he's instantly buying a pop going out there. He knows that he wants every last bit of damage he can get.
Because let's be real, inhibitors down. If LNG win the next fight, the death timers are getting kind of long. They set up the side waves, they set up mid. That could be it for game 1.
Very true. And we're seeing some of the quote-unquote weaknesses of Aphelios come in. He is a champion with very low mobility, and you really do have to use his melee combos to stay alive in the fight.
Yep.
You know, Severum into Crescendum is one of the ones that you see most often because the Onslaught quickly stacks up your Chakarums and allows you to do massive amounts of single target damage.
Because right now, we've seen that Kramer has been carrying these fights. However, at this point, LGD are losing their front line very quickly into it, thanks to Maple, thanks to Asura. So far, I think LNG showing they are the more coordinated team, the better team fighters, at least in this game.
Yeah, I felt like LNG just used their opportunities far better than LGD actually did. LGD had, once again, a great lead in this game that I felt like they should have snowballed even harder with Colt, and especially with the lead of Yuuki. None of that really happened. They found no picks across the map, and LNG, they just played around their item cooldowns. You know, Gargoyle Stone Plate, instant engage. soak up all the damage. We're going to chase you into the side lanes.
Which, you know, if you're just coming back to LGD, if we're talking about problems or we're talking about how they didn't accelerate their lead, issue last year was we saw more of the same with the people in the roster. Like we saw Condi, we still had Yuuki, you know, Garve, or even Buddyman in the jungle. Issue was Kramer was there trying his hardest, and LGD just couldn't make anything happen.
Kramer for me was a top 380 carry. I actually rate him very highly.
Yep.
However, the team didn't really play around him that well. We did see the coaching try to force it.
Oh no. Peanut too far forward. That's going to be an instant flash. LGD bring Flandre into tank on top. Chance has to walk away as the bullet time wasted this time from Asura. Yuuki goes in, jumps into the back line. This might be a turn for LGD because look, Kramer is hitting. He's firing. He's smashing out with Severum now, and he's still at full health. Turns onto Flandre. He's next on the list. LNG might fire back, but look at this AD carry. He's still in it. Duan jumps on in. Severum at the ready again. The flash in from Colt. The flag and drag. Kramer still not hit. Hits the ultimate as well. And Aphelios is banned for a reason, because if he's untouched, he kicks ass.
Wow, triple kill coming in from Kramer. A lot of damage just soaked back up, and he's still at full health. Look at that overheal shield. He hasn't lost anything.
It looks like he was untouched. Having Severum in that fight was perfect for this AD carry. He picked up a triple kill. He picked up so much gold to back on another item, and this is how it began.
Yeah, there were a lot of good moves here. Chance with a great ultimate sealing up that pathway, and I believe Peanut actually caught Maple on the distortion. Maple just, you know, kind of instantly disappeared right here. Oh, he gets knocked forward with the Ignite on him, instantly falls down, and I think Asura might have chased the wrong target here. He does actually try and go down to finish off the bottom side of the fight, and that gives enough chances for LGD to kind of regroup. Duan can't find the Zenith Blade onto Kramer, and even with Xiongxiong on the double knockup, he can't prevent that great Moonlight Vigil with the Infernum, the best team fight combo that you're going to get. And Kramer with the 900 gold, he's in business.
Chance did a good job in that fight there as well. I think we're going to see a lot of pairing at the Brom, the tankier supports here with the Aphelios, because if we talked about his immobility, we can at least say that if he ever gets to a dangerous point, yeah, Chance might be caught out here, but can they turn it into something? Yuuki gets the stun down and Chance survives.
Wow.
Thanks to Yuuki. Unlucky for LNG, but they almost got a pick.
Yeah, that's a key ultimate down for Chance, however.
Sure.
So LNG, what this means is that Asura is going to be much harder to block in these team fights. I think LNG are still going to play around that ultimate advantage and try to goad LGD to walk into them.
You can see what's equipped for the Aphelios right now. The Calibrum and Severum. It's not Severum.
It's Calibrum and Crescendum.
Thank you so much. We're going to be doing this a lot this year.
Yeah, and
but Crescendum, the range is huge.
Yes, that's the longest range combo you can do. Basically, you can drop a turret down, and if it attacks someone, you can then follow up with the auto attacks coming in from Calibrum.
I've seen someone put it in the tri-bush in bottom lane, and he literally just kills someone from 100 to 0 because they walk through the brush.
I've seen that clip too.
Yeah, it's pretty bonkers. But meanwhile, speaking of bonkers, LGD set themselves up for the Soul coming up next. So there's a condition back on the board, and because of Kramer, this game is going on 6-1 and 4. He picked up Infinity Edge after that triple kill. So the difference is now this time, LNG are going to die a lot quicker if they can't take care of Aphelios.
Yeah, they really need to snipe out Kramer. He's sitting right on top of a ward, and look at where Maple is. This is perfect positioning. LGD can't move down that ramp.
I don't know he's here just yet. Onto Peanut they go. Flandre dodges away.
They don't see the Baron Pit. That's the big difference. They're trying to force it.
Spotted out now, though, with the help of Kramer and the scrying Bloom. Chance by himself once again. Now spots Maple out. But the Baron dance continues. No one touching Baron just yet. Remember that 4-minute window there for LGD, so hang on. Peanut, out he goes. If LGD can delay this, they can look for the Soul. And they can look for the ultimate play.
That was pretty damn close for Peanut. If Maple landed his chain there, I believe Peanut would be dead.
He was close. You can see that the squishiness of Gragas, the full AP Gragas is still there. See if a Banshee's Veil comes through this game for Peanut if he wants to opt in purely for Maple. But LNG reset. They back away, and LGD now have priority towards the Baron Pit. They can clear this out. They can threaten Baron, or they can reset themselves.
I'm looking at Flandre's build right here. I don't think that's the build you want to go for when you're trying to frontline. It's...
Youmu's get you there faster, Clement.
it does, but I think for LNG, the main thing they're looking for is actually just separation for Asura to kind of create a full channel on bullet time.
Yep.
That's what they've been setting up for all this time.
Oh, he's
I
got
would have
4
preferred the Sterix Gauge here, but
yeah,
see how he uses it. He
That's
is going to be able to traverse quicker.
I mean, he's running into, I guess, a weaker front line here from LGD, so lethality will mean more against LGD, but a couple of armor items already picked up, and Zhonya's will be next for Peanut most likely, so you're right, Clement. Flandre here, 3rd item in the Youmu's, but at least he will do more damage to Baron, which is starting up now. Maple's not there yet. Duan is zoning. LGD walking in.
I don't think you want to chance this Baron with Infernum up for Kramer. That's going to one-shot your entire team.
That's right, and he knows where they are as well.
They see
Chance
Maple
himself drops a ward over the wall. Maple can't find the flank just now. They group up, and LGD have the inside track to the mid lane. Kramer's still here. He can snipe them out. Peanut's there, running on in. Flandre gets destroyed. Infernum with the Moonlight Vigil. And Inferno is the disco that LGD dance to.
That's what we call love around the corner in Chinese. You know, you never want to face check when the enemy team is aware of your movements.
That sounds very dirty, Clement, but you know what? I will not bark in the way of tradition. Inhibitor will go down. And Clement, you know what? That was beautiful to watch.
Yep, it definitely was. I felt like LNG should not have let that play happen. It was a little bit too easy on the execution for LGD. They're going to have a clean setup onto the Baron at this point, and there's no real reason, no real chances to flank. The best case scenario they want to get is basically to have Maple just assassinate someone. You can see the death cap already primed.
Yep.
It's got that bullet or wand with Kramer's name on it.
But he needs Kramer. He needs Kramer out of anyone in this team. Yuuki still able to survive. He has the GA, so assassination potential definitely goes down. Unless he can find Peanut, but that's hard. The CC involved. But you can see for LGD, this is their fight back. This is their ability to kind of bring themselves back in the game. While it was a uncertain mid-game after they had an advantage, they have done a good job to bring it right back, and now they're picking out on LNG. That's another flash burn. That's an ultimate again. The Moonlight Vigil with Gravitum locks him in place. It's layers of CC on XX, and he's not getting out. Kramer gets his 8th kill, and now this Baron should be very easy.
Aphelios is basically like something of a Sivir and then also an Ashe all tied into one. All of his abilities are incredibly useful, and I love the way that Kramer just threw out his ultimate, knowing that he would get the catch. They're putting themselves in a dangerous position. However, Kramer isn't tagged by the slow.
I mean, he's walking out. He's confident here. He doesn't care. He's got Graviton, and he locks down Duan. Here comes the Vanguard's Edge on the backside onto Asura while Kramer's hitting the rest. Look at the mid laner taking over the AD carry. LGD have won this fight, but the question is, who else dies? Colt runs forward. Maple flashes. There are no summoners left on LNG apart from that boding teleport. But look at Kramer again. Here comes Aphelios, and why you need to ban him, because this champion is so geared up the wazoo. He has a beautiful time taking down names and clearing blank checks.
Yep, he's not going to take that name down, but it's already over for LNG. They have no one defending the base at this moment. Maple's coming back, but that's a bit too little too late.
Straight into the Nexus, LGD bring it back from an uncertain mid-game, secure game 1 against LNG.
We can see smiles on Kramer's face, happy that he has his new teammates, and quite disbelieved that he got to play Aphelios
That he got
today.
Aphelios. You can see why this is the first ban on Red's side. That champion is pretty insane right now. And needless to say, Kramer brought that game back from the brink of despair in that one big team fight mid.
Yeah, a lot of healing coming out from his build right there. Good usages of the catch potential with the Gravitum, and also great on LGD's Peanut to follow up on a lot of those plays. LGD do have a, I wouldn't call it a convincing Game 1 win, but you're starting to see the budding of some synergy here.
Yeah, the power of the bottom lane. Also, Colt had a great early game. But you're right, it's a building of synergy here in this split, and that's what needs to happen from the get-go. I will point out that 30,000 damage in 38-minute game, that is quite a lot there from Kramer, but it does make perfect sense, doesn't it? Ban affiliates. Do not let that champion through.
I actually didn't think I'd see a single Aphelios today.
Neither did I. I was like, Aphelios, I've got all his stuff here. I'm like, nah, I don't need it. But turns out we were wrong.
Now, going into this game, LNG does have the side selection. They're going to be going on blue side. No surprises over there. Kramer, even though he did get the Aphelios last game, playing very respectfully, banning away.
We get Peanut's Lee Sin. That, to me, is exciting, and in the past has been exceptional. As to what caliber we get, I'm curious. We get Colt once again on his Renekton up in the top lane. So, Clement, you see your Rumble once again. What do you think about it in the environment that's been given here by LGD?
Well, I think against something like the Jarvan, it's actually okay-ish. Like, you can get away, and if Lee Sin hovers around you a lot of the times, you do have that 2v2 to straight up take the fights. And going into this game, I think both sides are going for a lot of skirmishes, but LGD, more on their part, they do have that first Drake kind of team fight composition going in. AoE CC layered from the Vayne, the Braum, and also the Rumble.
Okay, so we got it again. We're going into game 2 of LGD and LNG taking to the Rift. Now, Comet on the Rumble mid. No Predator to enable roaming that we've talked about before. But before we get into that, LNG have decided to play aggressive. Walk into the red side jungle. They spotted Peanut out, but he's going straight towards his blue. Bottom side start. And how will that affect the pathing of XX?
Well, I really want to see where XX starts himself. It looks like both are going to be bottom and heading towards the top side. A lot of times, the early level 3 gank has been much more improved for junglers. You can do double buffs into Krugs this time around and don't have to wait around for Scuttle to hit that level 3. And judging by the previous game that we saw, where the first gank really impacted how this the next 10 minutes went with the top lane, I think that's where both of our eyes are going to go to.
Well, it's an easy path then. There's blue buff being done right now alongside Gromp. XX just goes for red, straight up towards Wolf Camp, or not even that. We're going to blue. And as we talked about in previous games, the level 3, the instant kind of gratification of just getting towards that point after 3 camps.
Yeah, and what we saw Peanut ping in the early game was actually going towards bot lane. And this is something that, you know, is different about the ganking path as well, is that you can stay on the bottom side as a red team, get your level 3, and still help out with the gank over there. So that could be in the cards. We're already seeing Xiong set up for this gank. He didn't even go for the level 3, straight level 2. He's in perfect position, and he knows that Peanut isn't on this side of the map.
He did have to flag and drag to get over the wall, so he's waiting for the cooldown to come back. Duan has dropped a ward to scout out where Peanut could be. Now, this is worrying because XX might think he's here, but he's going for the gank anyway. And Colt has to dodge away. That's an instant match with the flash. Nicely done from XX, but he can't get the kill. Style points to add for the jungler. Double flash for LNG versus 1 for Colt.
That's actually not that worth it coming in from LNG. You could see there was a little bit of communication error there. Flandre immediately turned back, thought that fight wasn't going to happen. And Peanut, with his more conservative path, is now going to have a sizable EXP lead. He can look to put some hurt onto Xiong after this.
And remember, the wave for Flandre, I think, is actually pushing against him. We'll have a look in the top side momentarily. But Peanut now up here, going to be able to clear the Krugs, and he's just been farming away. So a slight EXP advantage is big for a Lee Sin in the early game.
Yeah, and you can see the pings already going out. Flandre is thinking about exactly what you were talking about. He's at an HP disadvantage. His wave is shoving in. He does have a ward for it, but Colt can decide to freeze if he wants to in this position.
Hasn't been spotted out. Flandre's still there. That's a big wave building up. XX has now been spotted coming in as well. But Colt does have the sustain available. Has the Fury built up too. Gets the ultimate stun. But it looks like Peanut might be backing away.
Yeah, the wave's going to crash, so there's no real reason to be here anymore, unless the combo is going to come out from Xiong. Are they actually going to risk it? Lee Sin is in place.
Peanut walked away very far, but now he's back in rage. The safeguard gives him a shield. XX too far forward, but does manage to get first blood. While now Flandre getting chased by Peanut. The safeguard behind with the ward. He has Conquerors available. Yuuki is coming up. Now Peanut just needs to survive from the Aatrox. Flame Spitter out. You should have the Electric Harpoon, but that was a great cue. They want to flash. They want to commit. They come in for the cripple. Flandre forces his flash out. Almost gets the least in on the way out, but he survives.
Well played by Peanut. Just the red buff keeping him alive in that scenario. Flandre dragged everything into his large and incoming minion wave to make that almost an equal trade, but sadly, in the end for them, they couldn't pull it off, and that was what I was talking about. I felt like the early double flash trade when Peanut was already pathing towards the top side wasn't really worth it for LNG.
Yeah. Imagine if he had the flash there as well. Would have been able to match, could have traded, and could have been a very different story. Lee Sin gets the kill, Jarvan gets the kill as well. Both junglers are on the board, but the difference here is that Yuuki walks away with a kill, back to his lane with a blasting wand, versus an amplifying tome for Maple.
And also on Lee Sin items, that's double longsword versus just the boots coming in from Xiong as well. We're going to see Peanut play a very aggressive game this time.
He's going towards a bottom lane. Level 5 here on the Lee Sin. Doesn't have the boots to walk in just that bit quicker. Kramer's low. Bottom lane's pushing in. XX has had to match, but is a level down.
See, it's just making sure that Peanut doesn't get an easy pathway into the river.
He's starting Dragon. If he's spotted here, he's dead.
Well, this is mainly based off Zoe's position. You can see that because Yuuki roamed early, he doesn't have any lane control now.
True.
And that should be the Infernal.
Okay. XX takes it. Infernal to kick us off. Next is Mountain, so my favorite, we get the Ocean or Cloud, which in my opinion is the absolute best in the game right now.
For sure. The Ocean goes through taking damage right now. It's like, it still regens you.
Regen plus like the on-hit health repair.
Yep.
We'll call it.
The Soul is very good. And also the Cloud Drake just functionally changes a lot more champions than I would say the Infernal or the Mountain actually does.
Yep. The movement speed on ultimate. Now, speaking of movement, Yuuki was making his way down. We got a quick look at the trading here from Flandre, who might have just forced Colt out for the time being, or at least towards his Krugs.
Yeah, this is one of those unfortunate semi-RNG moments that you see happen in top lane trades a lot of the times. It's the wave basically pushed in, no TPs from either side, and Flandre gets to freeze for a long time. And unfortunately for Colt, no one was then there to get his lane back for him, and he's facing quite a large deficit.
It's lanes going back and forth here that have piqued my curiosity. It's Kramer now pushing out the bottom lane in Asura and Duan, which was once dominating them earlier in the game. Peanut's nearby as well, so they have to play it safe. They have to play it respectful of the Lee Sin, who is soon to be level 6. But Flandre is going to kill Colt if he gets pulled back in. Luckily, Infernal Chains don't connect, but Colt has to back.
Yep, and LGD should still be looking for their opportunities for Yuuki to join this team fight in the bottom side. They have stopped the backs multiple times on the bot lane. Wow, that is such a massive advantage coming in from Kramer and Chance.
Yeah.
Asura was trying to sing his back long before this wave. Probably 2 waves ago, he was trying to call for trying to do a recall.
He's able to finally back. Small token is that he was able to pick up the BF sword, but that wave is denied. Bottom lane is going to reset as well. And that is a Cutlass picked up first here by Kramer.
Giving him a lot of sustain in that lane. Blade of the Ruin King build still seeming to be the favored build despite the poke buffs that we've seen. We have seen, I saw Deft play a lot of the Comet and just kind of poke Varus.
Is that the lethality Varus?
Yeah, the lethality.
Yeah.
Actually, the Umbral Glaive is very good when you're doing that.
Did he build Sanguine Blade at all?
No. You don't really need the lifesteal.
The attack speed with that.
But clearing out vision is great.
True. We saw an Umbral Glaive on Ning in Game 2, I believe, as well. Out of the IG FPX series. Now, Peanut is doing the Rift Herald. LNG is pushing their bottom lane, but look at the top side. They've gone for a complete swap. They've prioritized the Rift Herald. After Peanut picks it up, remember, he's level 6. He can make this dive happen. Flandre, paying respects, has to leave now, while LGD looks for the first turret.
And this is the overstacking problem that we were talking about. Because Herald gives true damage to towers, you can melt through Bulwark, while it's actually very difficult for the 3-man for LNG to push this. If you're not doing over 1650 damage onto a tower, you might as well not be there.
But I will say, to add to the mix, have LGD use this too late. Turret, push down, maybe not. I'll take it back. I guess the bulwark does come into effect there down in the bottom lane, Clement.
Yeah, and this is what I was talking about. You always want to look for those opportunities to overstack with Herald and trade sides on the map because you are going to come out so damn far ahead.
True. They got a second charge off it as well. It cleaves through the rest of the turret and it's almost dead. Flandre is now sticking around, and they get it.
Two towers for nothing.
That's right. Maple will land the trouble ball, but it's onto the support. Flandre to go in. Now the ultimate landed back in here for the 80 carry. Peanut looking for the kick, finds it onto Flandre, but LGD are dangerously low. It's Peanut, then Duan to die. Flandre has healed enough to re-engage. LGD one by one. They look to fall. Yuuki now stacked on top by Flandre, and this has gone horribly wrong, horribly fast.
And I have to say, LG actually opted into that one.
That they did.
They did turn around and think that they could get the insta-kill onto Flandre, but, you know, better calculations on Flandre's side. He didn't actually get hit by the Sonic Wave coming in from Lee Sin to execute him. And, you know, all that talk about great macro play, well, it doesn't really apply anymore.
It's thrown out the window, you could say, Clement. And Colt being here is way too far forward.
Has no Dominus.
Here comes a flag and drag. Cataclysm is available, but they opt not to use it. Instead, getting the pressure mid. Top's already naturally pushing out. LNG through the lanes now have a 2K gold lead when they got smacked a couple of minutes ago.
Yeah, and just to watch this play develop again, let's see if Chance was actually caught there. It was a turnaround coming in from LGD Kramer, and they did think that they could take this fight.
Great off
with
Duan.
Yeah. Just decimated them there, catching everyone. Got a 3-man with the ultimate.
But when you fight with an Aatrox with ult up, a lot of the time it doesn't go how you like. People really underestimate the lifesteal that guy still has. He's got a Black Cleaver now as well.
Yeah, that was a very disorganized turnaround. That was a 5v4 from LGD where they expended double teleports to try and close on the deal. So about as bad as it could get in terms of a team fight.
Okay, gonna point out, remember, with the Dragons, I like telling you which soul works for which champion. Flandre presses ult with a Cloud Dragon soul, and he flies. He literally flies.
Yeah, a couple ones that I personally really like are champions that have very short cooldowns to begin with. So I'm looking actually at the Zoe, where she's going to portal jump multiple times in a team fight and get that extra speed boost every single time.
True.
Also, Equalizer is great because it has an inbuilt slow, and then you can catch up to targets with that.
You know how you're talking about Elise before? We'll have to pause because LGD going deep into the jungle. I was going to say Elise ult with Cloud Dragon Soul feels pretty good, but Smite going to hit. Duan is going to, well, sorry, Chance rather, is going to take it away, but there we go. Duan's in straight away with the E on the flash, and immediately Asura just takes down Kramer. Chance locked down as well. That's a double kill. LGD 1x1 decide we're going to go in, and we're going to die.
Yeah, that was a little bit perplexing. They actually walked over multiple wards to get in their position, and there was still a ward in the red buff. So, you know, they didn't pop any scanners. They just went in, thinking it'd be fine.
Yeah, but they weren't.
Wasn't the case.
No, that wasn't the case. So, a couple of head scratches here from LGD.
And Maple is pretty fed at this point.
Peanut is dead here. Good night to Peanut. The Ignite's there. Colt's going to defend him for a second. Maple heads on in. A good stopwatch used, but Flandre gets the kill and the reset anyway. Colt can't defend him with Dominus burned. LNG now have full access to bottom wave, mid wave as well, pushing in. They keep getting resources and therefore more money.
Yep, and what started out as a pretty good LGD game with their ganks in the top lane, their great macro decisions, LNG now comes out with a 4K lead. Large turnaround, and unfortunately, this is what we've been consistently seeing from LGD a lot of the times.
Yeah, at least they're on brand.
Yeah, they, you know, that's absolutely accurate. They do take leads. They have great laners, but a lot of times they just throw it with their roaming. They were called Team Lucifer because they had the most deaths out of any team in the LPL.
Okay, well, I don't see how that kind of translates.
Well, you don't bring upon death to the other team. You do it to yourself. That's.
Yeah, I don't know why Lucifer though. That's for Team Grim Reaper or something. You know, would have been a lot better.
Okay.
Okay. All right. I'm glad we sorted it.
And what I wanted
message
to see out of this team is when you think about Peanut coming into this roster, he's the one with the most competitive success. You know, world finalist, all of that.
Yeah.
It's probably the furthest stage that anyone in LGD has ever been to.
Sure.
At least in this current roster.
Very true. Clement, I know you're pausing because Peanut is looking for Flandre, but at this point, I wouldn't recommend it. Flandre is just destroying Colt,
yes, no
who
dominance.
now has no health, going into World Ender. Here comes the equalizer. Colt is low. He will survive thanks to his team, but they come close. While LNG run it up mid lane, they're going to trade off, and they're even going to look for the AD carrying Kramer. Too easy here for Duan.
Yeah, that was Flandre just outplaying 4 members from LGD. He doesn't get the kill necessarily, but look at how that bulwark works for the bottom tower. They still can't get it.
Maple's going to get a turret as well. Colt's still there. Oh my. Okay. Eventually, the 1 turret for a trading kills and 2 turrets and the Herald. LNG, I think they're telling us something, Clement. They're telling us we might be going to a game 3.
Definitely seems that way, and I really want to see who's going to emerge as a new shot caller for LGD. In the previous iterations, we saw PYL was the main one. You know, he's been with the organization for 7.5 years. Yeah, he was his loss basically marked the end of any of the remnants from Season 5 of LGD, where they reached their heights in terms of international success. And the question is, who's going to show up on this team and really install discipline, install consistency and shot calling to this roster?
It's a new generation, isn't it? It feels like Yuuki is now kind of the OG in not really a literal sense. You know? Like, Yuuki now has the most experience on this roster.
Yes, he's
and then Kramer.
seen some stuff on this roster.
He's seen some things. He hasn't he just? But it's a new generation. The question of whether Peanut's going to stick around, whether Kramer will develop with him as well. Because again, on paper, LGD looks great. That's why you and I both ranked them very highly, just under LNG Gaming.
I believe I ranked LGD still below LNG.
Oh, did you?
Yeah,
okay.
I had faith that, you know, experience and shot calling.
Okay. Well, we'll talk about that in a second, because that's going to be the inhibitor turret taken down. Flandre gets a double knock up there. Solar Flare locked on down, and that's bullet time, baby! LNG do it again. And Chance is not going to get another one of those to walk in range of the Zoe. LGD are down a member. They're down an inhibitor. This is looking pretty good for the new Suzhou team. Yeah,
and I was a little surprised there that LGD didn't actually use many of their ultimates to try to prevent that. The equalizer was already down, and Chance didn't use his ultimate to stop it. They just kind of watched LNG walk up to them. So a little bit unfortunate right there, and I feel like this is speaking about the level of difference. LGD is coming in with 2 new talents coming in from the LDL, and LNG are definitely, through this series, the more cohesive team.
Oh, I mean, Asura and Duan have been now together for I'd say an extra split on top of that. Because remember, Duan did come from LGD Gaming at one point as well. Previously known as Caveman, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
And Asura was playing with him for the tail end of the split as well. Maple coming from Suning over from the LMS, but the whole year there, XX was on top esports for a good while. And Flandre is the franchise player of LNG. So in terms of raw experience, LGD are outmatched in most of their roles.
I really want to see Flandre come with his solo queue unique pick.
Yes.
He's got that pocket Yasuo.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's been spamming it super hard in solo queue.
It was banned against him. Maybe that makes more sense
I
now.
actually think he banned it himself.
Yes,
yeah.
to stop himself from playing it. I don't want to go 0-10 this game, just in case.
A lot of self-discipline from a Yasuo player.
Well, he's been around for a while. 2015 spring, if I'm not mistaken, on Snake Q. And Flandre, this is going to be his 5th year on LNG/Snake. That's a very long time. Now he's going to be tested by Peanut. That's a good flash kick as Chance locks him down. But do they have the damage to take him down? Flandre looks for the turn. The Sonic Wave into Resonating Strike over the wall will eventually kill him. So that's a decent pick. But LNG are always trading this game. Now towards the top side, they found the inner again. They're pressuring towards the inhibitor turret. Yuuki has ult, might just have to burn it.
This is the turning point for LGD. If they can get the team fight here, they could reverse what's happened so far, but LG's not going to give them such a chance whatsoever. You can see the pings immediately back off.
Playing it safe, playing it smart. This is an LNG that fills you with hope for the upcoming season. We've got a 6k gold lead, Clement, and it's time to check in on items as we usually do. Because an Infinity Edge on Asura with the Essence Reaver. Good combination, a powerful combination at pre-20 minutes in the game.
Yeah, the Misfortune doesn't get a lot of base attack speed, and also you get extra attack speed just from your W.
That's
so
right.
You don't see a lot of Misfortunes actually itemizing into many Zeal items. It's mainly been the 2 crit items straight off the bat. You want to spam your Qs, Essence Reaver, go into the IE, and that is a Xiong style of cast shot calling if I've ever seen one.
Yep.
If you listen to his mic checks, he's one of the most angry shot callers, but it's very fun. You know the team is on the same page when he's doing it.
We gotta do a mic check, a bit of content I think this year, Clement. There's a lot of good stuff going on behind closed doors, or rather behind the English closed doors. I love that we're still doing Harbin as well. Flash there for Solar Flare from Kramer. Big Summoner down once again. It seems like every time Kramer has Flash, he has to burn it this game. And Colonel, oh, he's thumbs upping this time, Clement. Look at that. Colonel is LNG bias. I don't know what chicken they serve in Suzhou.
Yeah, I'm just reading off the stats on the right-hand side.
Please
this is win contribution.
Hang on, pause. Let's go. Who's going to die this time? It looks like Peanut with a Cataclysm. And at this point, Flandre can just walk right on in. Jungler down, Baron up. LNG say, what's for dinner?
Apparently peanuts.
Apparently KFC, Clement. LNG might actually find another pick here. Chance has walked right on in. Going to be slowed down. The World Enders there. They might actually find the game-ending fight. Going to be locked down. Smacked again. This was easy for LNG.
Yeah, nothing really to check coming in from LGD whatsoever. They're basically living on a prayer at this point, and LG can do this over and over again. I really don't see how LGD come back in this one at all.
Well, Clement, they are halfway there if they are living on a prayer. LNG going to start the Baron up here. And LGD are nowhere near. Peanut has just respawned, but if he looks to steal this one, Duan and Maple are at the ready, and that Trouble Bubble was too close for comfort. Maple will have to use his fake flash away. Duan onto Peanut immediately. That zones him away. LGD can't get there in time. Baron secured, and even at half health, they want to take the fight. That's Solar Flare again. They turn onto Colt, they turn onto Yuuki. That's a great equalizer, though. So hold the phone. Peanuts jumped in. He kicks away XX. Colt onto Maple too. LGD's last hurrah is actually more of a hooray. Maple's going to die as well. And Baron for 2 deaths.
Wow, very good combination there from Yuuki and the likes of Kramer. So you saw the equalizer being dropped right on top of a stunned up Flandre. He was rooted on that flaming path, goes down immediately. They split the team fight and chased down Maple too.
Inhibitor going to be traded here though, Clement. There we go.
Yeah, this is big for LGD. If they can deny the Dragon Soul for 5 more minutes, it's going to give them so much more time to scale up.
XX doesn't care. He's in straight away. 2K is the Dragon. And look, Duan and Asura are coming in red hot. Colt there behind as well. Cataclysm onto Kramer. But it's a 3 versus 4 for now. Peanut jumps in once more, but Asura's already killed their AD carry. Chance is going to die alongside their jungler. LNG are getting fed right now. It's so cheap, and they love it. Asura can't catch the last member, but that means Dragon Soul goes right over to LNG.
LGD never said no to a fight most of the times.
No,
they do try to deny the Dragon Soul there. I love the teleport onto just the flag coming in from XX, making sure everyone's there. Flandre just mopping up the remnants of LGD. And I don't know, like, I just don't see what LGD can do at this point.
No,
you know?
This is the old probably go next at this point, the miracle fight. Well, who's going to start it off at this point? 1 inhibitor's down, another in the making in the mid lane. Baron buff doing its work. Peanut looking for a play, but what can he find? Look at the top side. Flandre split pushing with the Baron buff as well. And LGD have to look 2 ways at both, at once, excuse me.
Equalizer comes down.
Yeah. See, at this point, you can see my impression, Clement. It's the equalizer, wasn't used well. That could have been the last time he used it. Flandre towards the top side. The wave is going to crash very shortly. And that turret's going to go down. The 3rd inhibitor as well. They're going to dot the I's, cross the T's here in game 2.
Just not enough damage for LGD at this point to even push off this wave. We're just waiting for the big bullet time to come down.
Yep. Flandre now brings his wave in as well. All 3 lanes are crushed and destroyed. supers are rolling in down the bottom side. Chance takes too much of one again. And we're just going to be here till the game's end, I feel.
Yeah, LNG doesn't look like they're going to retreat anytime soon. They're going to play towards the full siege until the equalizer timing is back up. There's no real threat coming in here.
Flandre is taking a lot of the attention towards his top side. The trouble bubble lands. Chance gets hit by Flandre. And when that one Q did so much, the bullet time comes through, puts them down to half health. And you have to feel that's enough. The waves are crashing in, and supers double at that through the mid lane.
And Yuuki's almost falling down. Maple could one-shot him at this point.
Oh, and he did. Peanut's dead. Ignited down. LNG making it look easy. They've got 4 members left. They flash in. The Solar Flare there as well. The Infernal Chains. Kramer is no more. Cataclysm with an instant flash out. You know the carpet's laid down, but it's a dirty carpet at that from Yuuki. Everyone's dead, Colt included, and game 2 goes to the way of LNG.
Yeah, this fight, LGD, they had a lot of setups that, you know, could have worked, but LNG really diffused every single situation. The 5v4 in the top side was really what started the snowball in LNG's way, and then the kind of questionable invasion that we saw coming in from LGD onto the red buff, that cost them another 4 kills. The game was pretty much out of control at that point, and we see LGD in their typical fashion trying to claw back into the game by constantly going for the picks, going for Flandre. That was pretty much dangled in front of them.
Yeah, constantly, you know, 2-3 times we saw the same play happen. The only time LGD had a hand in that game was, look, that little dip in the graph in the middle, and that's pretty much it. So for LNG, you have to say, on the positive side, that looked a lot cleaner, a lot better out of the newer squad. What we kind of expected with names like XX Maple alongside the already LNG roster.
For LNG, I think what they need to do is clean up their early game a little bit more. The altercations that happened in the top side were very pushed from XX side. I felt like those weren't exactly well executed or communicated there. And they got lucky on that wave bouncing back. Just, you know, it happens a lot of the times when you have a skirmish in the top side and someone pushes the wave, then suddenly you can find yourself in a very bad situation for Flandre. He snowballed super heavily off of that one. That was luck.
And it was also a good read from Peanut as well. That's why the expectations in that game kind of shifted massively after the play.
Yeah, so LNG, I think if they clean up kind of their early game, then I'd be a little bit more confident in their rosters. So far, they've been going for prop up Maple, try to get him snowballed against Yuuki type of rosters, instead of, you know, more of the teamfight-oriented ones that I was expecting coming to see him propping up Asura a little bit more. That seems like what they're going to be going for. You see Pantheon constantly being banned out from LGD as well. So that might be their style, but I don't think they're clean enough to the point where they can take that and beat other LPL teams with
At least for now. We've got to see what they can make of game number 3, see if they can prop up that early game as we head towards game 3 right after that. LGD like to face check things and go in deep to enemy jungle, but they've been given a Philios again, Clement. That's what won them game 1.
I'm pretty surprised they got that one.
You and me both.
So Kramer obviously took the MVP in game 1, doing 40% of his team's damage in that one, and this time they have the Leona on their side, a very strong bottom lane combo, and LGD, once again, they're going to step up and challenge the synergy between Maple and Xiongxiong, kill mid-jungle duos coming out from them. On the other side, LNG, I feel like this is more of a scaling composition, more of a stable backline, front line, and midline type of combo that they have going right here. They do have a good 1-3-1 in the later stages of the game as well.
Okay.
So more win conditions on one side, but a lot of explosiveness from LGD in the early game.
Explosive early game for LGD. Explosiveness. Excuse me. The final game of the night. How we've opened the LPL with IGFPX has been great in its own way. But this needs a conclusion. We need to see who's stronger out of LGD or LNG to kick off the split.
I think all eyes this game. Are going to be on Kramer.
Yeah, I would agree. If anyone missed out from game number 1, we noticed that Kramer, Conqueror once again, by the way, favors towards Bloodline, the overheal. There was a lot of lifesteal with Severum attached, and Kramer just did not die.
Nope, he did not. And he actually got a lot of team fights where he didn't even lose HP throughout the fights. He was going triple kill, Severin heals him everything back up.
And look, Colonel's pointing up. What? They've changed the way Colonel looks at you this time.
This is a very interesting... So this graph is the scaling graph.
Okay.
Which team is favored at which point in the game, and that is the most confused graph I've seen.
It said ultra late game is LGDs. Okay.
And now we are seeing a different path, Xiongxiong path towards the top side both times, but Mordekaiser isn't a great matchup into the Aatrox, and he's going to try and get his first gank off towards the bottom side here.
Yep. Looks like Rek'Sai shortly behind doing a full clear of the top side here from Peanut. But XX doing the exact same thing he did last game, just different side, if I'm not mistaken. Now walking towards the bottom side, going for Grop. That's going to be level 3 here for the Jarvan, with LGD's bottom lane pushing up.
Strong level 2 power spike right here coming in from LNG. And I love the use of blue side Rek'Sai. You just have so many open gank paths for you, and that's why it's been such a high priority champion. We're seeing the Conqueror builds this time as well. You know, typically we have seen a more gank-oriented Hail of Blades build. But this one is going to give him a little bit more dueling power against the Jarvan.
Yeah, from the Rek'Sai, absolutely. And from Peanut as well. I mean, a lot of people know this player. They know how Peanut is. They've seen him on Rek'Sai before. So this is not an unknown. But looking towards that pathing, the bottom side ready for Scuttle to spawn in 5 seconds. So that'll be control given over to LGD. And the first dragon in 145 is going to be that Cloud as well. So the ability to get that ult movement speed, or rather, excuse me, get that ult CDR nice and early.
Ooh, very good distance anticipation coming in from Flandre. It dodges out on the turret shot there. And something interesting that LNG did in their bottom side that I wanted to point out is that even though they did not leash, they didn't go for the wave push immediately. They did want to have a chance to see if they could get a good gank onto Chance and Kramer. And when that didn't materialize, it also protects them against the incoming blue side Rek'Sai that just loves ganking bottom.
Yep. His ability to make his way through the alcove as well, part of the strength. But Flandre is smacking Colt in this top lane. I mean, if we're talking skill of top laners this series, Flandre has looked like the better top laner.
Yeah, he's been playing very well with his early game advantages. What happened is that they knew, I believe they assumed that Jarvan was starting on the top side. In that situation, Colt did have to play more respectfully. And as a Mordekaiser, it's pretty difficult to trade up against an Aatrox. He has better base stats across the board. And his skill combo also does more damage. So a lot of times you have to play with the wave to keep yourself in advantage. And this is exactly what Flandre has been doing.
Well, he's still brought in Colt once again, but Peanut's been spotted out on a ward. So while Flandre has been destroying this lane, he stays safe. He knows where Peanut is. That means bottom lane can play aggressive like this. Kramer at half health, pushed all the way back. But this is where the overheal, this is where the bloodline comes into effect. Severin is going to heal him after about 6 autos.
Yeah, this is just one of the parts of Aphelios' kit that I feel can be very underrated at times.
Yeah.
It's actually quite difficult to completely poke him out of lane. Once he has that rotation up, he can just heal the entire thing up, no problem. And also his third rotation when it comes to the Moonshot and the Gravitum, I feel like it's so impactful. It's almost like a mini Ashe arrow in the laning phase. 1450 on the range, and you can instantly switch it into a stun.
Yeah, the slow is insane. The stun is insane. I mean, there's not a lot in the kit that you don't like for Aphelios right now, but able to push back up, trying to stop the backs here. Excuse me. Duan is actually backing on a ward. Kramer's going to press Gravitum, stops his backing, and LNG stuck in lane here, while Peanut is once again towards the bottom side.
So just a small correction, it's actually a root. My bad. He has just so
Gravitum.
many abilities.
But remember, Gravitum also on its auto attack does slow. So you get the best of both worlds. Peanut is in the mid lane. That's a flash on Burrow. Maple takes a while to die. And XX, while he flashed, he was not able to find the knock-up. So Peanut gives first blood to Yuuki and walks away.
Yeah, killed straight underneath his tower. That was on point. Chance getting stuck up.
You're wondering what's going to happen here. Me too, Clement. But at this point, good trade-offs here from Kramer onto Duan. So first blood over to LGD. A much better start, but that's not what we complimented them on. Or that is what we complimented them on last game. but it was their ability to move into the mid game and not take silly risks. That is what lost them the second game. So far, so good is what I'll leave it at.
Interesting build by Maple. He's not actually going for the faster stacking tier, just needs some HP to survive in this one.
It's decided that you're going towards what could be the Abyssal Mask, or we see the Rod of Ages rise. Still picked up. 10 CS behind, though, Maple is at this point, against a blasting one from Yuuki. And while we are going through items, look at Colt on the top side. He's opted in straight away for the Maw, or rather the Hex Drinker, excuse me, against Flandre. So Flandre going for the Ninja Tabai early, pretty much blocking each other out, and they both have 6 or rather 7 at this point in the game.
And just to point out that we do see Flandre going for Ninja Tabby 2, and this is a 4-man gank coming into the bot side, 4v2.
I hope it's not Gunk, Clement. No, I don't want to see Gunk in the bottom side.
Maple must be aware that someone is missing here, but it doesn't look like LNG have... Okay, they're trading back quite fine.
Well, actually, Chance might have to come back to lane here. This is going to be hard. Do Duan and Asura get 6 from this wave? They might, but they're not going to let them. They flash, they go in, and that's the ult, the Moonlight Vigil, to get another kill. LGD survive, and they're going to get some turret plating with the 2 kills.
Perfect scenario coming in for the Moonlight Vigil plus Infernum combo right there. And a really good part of that play was, if you look at the map, they spotted out where the rise was going. And unfortunately for Maple, he was guessing on the wrong side of the map. He was spotted in the mid-left brush over there, and that instantly promoted the dive.
Now Kramer gets free time to push up the wave, get some of that gold to himself. Only 2 plates left on the bottom lane turret. LNG are going to have to take the trade in the Rift Herald, which Yuuki is like, no, 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 no. XX, if you want this, you'll die. Turns onto Maple instead, misses a binding, and now is in a bit of trouble as Duan finds himself the Herald and gets out. So LNG do eventually trade the objective.
Clean escape here, but doesn't really make up for the kills that we're seeing happening on Yuuki at this point. This is a pretty fed LeBlanc. And with Rek'Sai so far, I still think you're going to see a lot more of these plays coming in. Good flashing from Chance, and oh, look at that layering of CC. Absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, nice dive from LGD. Something in this series that I guess LGD's performance hasn't been consistent throughout. So good to see in Game 3 that they're measuring up to LNG. They've got their mid lane underway. They've got 2 kills on a LeBlanc pre-10 minutes. And the Aphelios is set to succeed again on Kramer. Close to the Essence Reaver there with the BF Sword and Caulfield's Warhammer. So underway nicely here for LGD.
This should be a very consistent way for them to find advantages as well. So I just want to see them not make silly mistakes, not overreach, and just repeat the same play over and over again. As long as that bot lane tower is up, and, you know, Maple is stuck close to his own tower, they have that road open for the 4v2 dive. Leona can tank all of the damage necessary, and Kramer's got the damage.
You'd like to see LGD play consistently throughout. And more to that point as well, see if the repeat gank comes down. See if Yuuki keeps roaming down. Peanut right now heading towards the top side, but looks like LNG are going to take the play out of that playbook as Kramer's forced to flash out of the way. He's going to leave Chance to die, it seems. Duan comes in with the ulti over the wall. XX is there with the flag and drag, and Kramer is dead, but TP's being committed as Yuuki is going to find his way in. Colt's here as well with the World Ender, but he's just going to trade his life. Flandre has matched. He's looking. Colt is looking hard, but Asura is able to get out in the end. But do they know that Yuuki and Peanut are still here? Peanut has ulti, but he's not going to risk it.
That was such a great bait coming in from Flandre. Waits until the last second. Colt flashes and then finds himself in the death realm. There's no Asura in sight. He can't get the trade back.
Well, they're going to defend the turret for now. The Rift Herald does get a big shove, shares gold throughout the rest of the team of LNG, and that brings them back within contention. Before that play, LGD were 2,000 gold ahead. Now LNG have caught up there, 500 behind LGD.
Just trading back and forth at that point. So LGD had the right idea. They had all the members moving towards the bottom side. It was just the fact that LNG was faster.
Yep. Dragon's going to be picked up as well. Mountain, let's see what it is. Ocean or Infernal. It's another Infernal Soul. So the Rift is going to be lit in a blaze as we have a look at how this started.
Ooh, really good start to the fight. They see the Realm Warp, and Chance still has to turn around to interrupt that, leaves himself behind, and a good Flash ultimate coming in. Gets the extended knockup from the buff these days, and Cult is actually in a really bad position. Gets instantly tagged by the Braum concussive blows, and watch this. Flandre ultimate at the very last second. That was such a baller move, man.
I bet he hated that. Well, I mean, Flandre, again, looks like the better top laner wins at this point. But we'll shift our eyes down to the bottom side. As LNG push top, you can see bottom turret breaks for LGD for first turret. They're looking towards the inner turret as well. I mean, Kramer's pushing this with Peanut. Chance is spotted around the side. Flandre has to be careful. Solar Flare's there. He doesn't have the ultimate yet available, so Flandre can't 1v1. They've got the Ignite, they've got the kill to Kramer, and now this inner turret looks to drop as well.
That's straight 2 towers going in favor for LGD, plus the kill as well. We didn't get to see the start of that trade, but it looked like LNG themselves opted into side trading and just got caught off guard.
Stuck towards that top lane turret here for LNG. Gold back over to LGD, about 1,000 in fact. Yuuki able to pick up some turret plating solo in the mid lane too. So LGD have brought it back into their swing. Now it's about, again, that word consistency and how they push into the mid game.
We have the Infernal coming up in 3 minutes. It's going to be a heavily contested one. And I do want to see... Oh, never mind.
No, what do you want to see, Clement? You got to tell me.
I do want to see both teams and how they set up for objectives. That's something that we've been kind of missing in this series. They just run at each other and try to get these pickoffs, and sometimes it's turned, sometimes it isn't. It's been a bit of a messy fight, but I really want to see a team just own up to an objective area like LGD is doing right now. This is very good on their part. You know, they're setting up tons of vision just around that Drake.
Yep.
And they know they have the composition that, you know, when you look at it, LNG does have a lot of scaling elements in their comps as well. They don't want this one to necessarily go into a 1-3-1 game.
Hang on, Maple might be caught out here. Flashes immediately away. Summoner down by the likes of Colt. So Maple getting caught with his pants down there. Means that a lot more confidence coming through here from LGD. Through the mid lane, they continue to push. Remember, that Herald is going to be up very shortly. So with that big play, they can start moving towards that objective as well. While you talk about vision as well, Clement, you look towards the top side. Same there as well. Along the whole of the river, LGD have taken over this map. Control wards throughout. Rift Herald, as I mentioned, that's about 10 seconds off. In fact, it spawned just now. And LGD do have the shove mid. They've got Colt in the top lane who has to ult now. That's going to be huge.
Yeah, it's a pretty rough one. He's not going to have the sustain to last through the entirety of the team fight. Of course, World Ender does give you that extra bonus to healing.
But look at where Yuuki is right now. Towards the bottom side, has the shove out, but has teleport available. He's starting to move his way over. In fact, waiting to use the teleport. That turret is ridiculous.
And just looking at the guns that Kramer is currently holding, doesn't have the Infernum for the team fight. Last I checked, it was Severum and the Crescendum. So he's going to have to go close and personal if he wants to contest this.
But something we were discussing off air was picking fights when you're a Philios and what gun you have equipped really influences you. Looks like Kramer's not going to care anyway. Teleport's coming in, Clement.
Who's going to get
Rift
the smite?
Herald, it's taken away by Peanut. And Yuuki just runs away. They've got the Herald. They're using the Realm Warp. LNG have been alpha.
Completely. And by the way, Yuuki was split pushing that entire time. This is a massive loss for LNG. They grouped up earlier. They did the setup, but they weren't willing to pull the trigger completely.
And that sets up for Infernal. 30 seconds to go. Herald destroys mid lane turret. LGD climb to 2,000 gold lead once again. They're going to reset, look to position back around this Infernal. And LNG, they don't have time to back, it feels like. They've got to stick around and look to contest.
It's coming up in 10 seconds at this point. You know, Kramer's at a good item buy. He's at a lead over Asura at this point. LNG is going to have to be walking into a lot of enemy territory, and I just want to keep very close attention onto Yuuki and what angle he's going to come in on. It looks like they're going to look for the Maple snipe before the Drake fight becomes an issue.
They're just going straight out of the pit into the blue area. And XX and Maple playing it cautiously while LGD have free roam. And Gravitum now equipped by Kramer as well. So when you talk about team fighting ability, Kramer's at his peak. Almost level 11, it looks like as well. Dragon started, and Infernal going to be the theme of this rift here tonight. LGD go to number 2 with 2 more to go for the Sol.
A much slower, controlled game we're seeing here. I felt like LNG had multiple chances to actually challenge some of these objective takes, but it doesn't look like they were on the same page whatsoever. Was a bit timid coming into it. And even though they did get their heads into the river, they didn't want to stay around.
Which is interesting considering what we saw in Game 2, where the confidence was most likely there, but it was more so that they were very coordinated. They were on the same page.
Yeah, I think part of it's coming just from the fact that Cult can split push pretty freely against the likes of Maple.
Yep.
He's doing okay in that matchup. You know, Yuuki's found a good assassination potential early on as well. So LG leveraging their side lanes quite well. For most of this period, the waves haven't really been bouncing back towards their side of the river.
Yeah, haven't met with too much resistance at this point as well. But I like that Chance roaming between Yuuki most of the time here, clearing out vision along the way and setting up the chance for a dive. If someone like Maple comes through, if someone like Flandre matches as well. Yuuki free roaming in that top lane right now, in fact. Well, look at the depth of coverage towards the red side. Peanut and Chance move in. They're controlling that area completely, waiting for someone to full swoop to Yuuki and the rest of them.
This is much better than what they did Game 1, and exactly what I wanted to see. You know, side lane push advantage into getting vision, into getting catches. This is a standard way you play League of Legends.
Yep.
And just talking about the bot lane, bottom lower graph that we just had, currently Yuuki dealing the most damage in the game at 3,000.
Okay, well, that makes perfect sense. 202 has the Luden's Echo now with the Fiendish Codex alongside. But LGD here, you can see, just matching LNG, looking to collapse. Aphelios is coming in. That's a Realm Warp. Chance misses the Zenith Blade. So that means Realm Warp is a success. Yeah.
Does go to flash out of Chance for that. So small win for LNG.
Yep. But we're just back to square number 1. Very different feeling, I guess, for newer viewers and people out there kind of tuning into the LPL. They'll notice that LGD, LNG, very different feeling, very different style of teams, but more about developing synergy in the early parts of the split, where for IG and FPX, it was about testing the limits of individual players more so than anything. We've got 17 teams, and we're not sure where LNG and LGD fit at the moment. Middle of the pack, I'm expecting. I think we had high expectations at LGD, but it is still early days in the split. So we'll see.
Yeah, and this is a much slower game than what we're accustomed to in the current patch. If you look at Demacia Cup and Kespa, they all landed around 31 minutes with about 26 or 27 kills. So this one has been fairly slow, but controlled from LGD's side. I like what they're doing with this side lanes, and they're willing to push up together. Playing 1-3-1, it's all about holding hands together across the map and extending that vision. They're already setting up pretty well for the Infernal Drake at this point. And it's going to be down to LNG, like how are you going to go into these blind areas? How are you going to use maybe members like members like Xiong Xiong or Duan that can take a little bit of damage and just poke in and grab that territory back?
Because I know you earlier were talking about, if we're just talking about compositions for the time being, that LNG, you know, had the better scaling here. Rise, Mordekaiser, you know, not really misfortune, but in a way. But for LGD, Aphelios is great.
Yeah.
Late game. You know, like this champion is a bonkers late game.
Yeah, I don't necessarily give LNG the much improved scaling. I would just say that they do have a more 5v5 oriented team fight. LeBlanc and Rek'Sai obviously are more about catching potential than the 5v5. So LNG, even at a gold deficit, they could still pull something out of their hat. But this is very good suffocation coming in from LGD.
Yeah. This is a lot cleaner, as you were saying before. The vision really impacting here for LNG, but they are playing safe. And you can see Yuuki now pushing up that bottom side lane, while Flandre towards the top side was trying to get some breathing room towards the Baron area. The Baron not on the menu here for LGD at this point. Instead, 20 seconds till that Infernal. They have full control, and LNG just have to watch as LGD set themselves up for an Infernal Assault.
And here should be where it all goes down. They do have to create a front line in front of Asura. It's very easy for her to get picked off. They have to walk in together at this point. And Cult is also creating a great distraction in the top side. He has his teleport to match. LNG are going to be looking for the engage here. Well,
Peanut almost getting caught out. Flandre walking through the turret at this point. That is Cressendum with a bit of gravitum attached at the same time. LNG are, however, able to walk into the Dragon, but LGD want to fight.
Yep, LNG have forced themselves into a hard committal. Let's see as Peanut comes in.
Okay, Java will pick up the Infernal. As meanwhile, here comes the Moonlight Vigil once again. Yuuki comes low, but Colt is in with a massive flank. Chance re-engages. Here comes the Aatrox into the back line, dealing whopping amounts of damage as the bullet time goes astray. Asura is dead, and Colt still firing away in the back line. Meanwhile, Kramer dies, destroyed by Flandre, who is carrying this fight. And Colt can't lock onto a target. It's a triple kill for the top laner of LNG. It's a Realm Warp worth taking for Maple. And it's Colt who's left by himself, flashed away. Maple does it. And that's the shutdown and the ace going to LNG.
A bit unfortunate for LNG. I think the main problem is that the teleport coming in from Colt was too far on the right side. He didn't really arrive on the scene before LGD was already bleeding out members there. Chance got caught, and Flandre came in at a very good position on top of the ramp. He managed to make his way through that. There was no terrain that was blocking him from the backline anymore, and they were able to clean it up.
All right, Clement, one more time. Show me how this happened, because Flandre just didn't die.
Yeah, to start it off, you can see that Yuuki takes a very risky dive into the Dragon Pit. Doesn't really get anything, and look how long it takes for Cult to actually get into the fight. Asura manages to get into the top lane, you know, wastes a lot of cooldowns right there. And just look at poor Kramer. He's sitting inside the death room with Flandre. There's nothing he can do. And Flandre with a great Q flash gets in among three, picks up his sweet triple kill, cleans up the rest of the fight. So this is another synergy issue that I think caused LGD to lose this one. They were actually in a pretty decent position, but they took way too many risks. I don't think Yuuki actually needed to full-on commit into that one. He was pretty much out of the fight at the very beginning, and that meant that they had to escape towards the left side. They couldn't stay around and wait for Cult to finish the collapse.
And at some point, you have to look back and say, well, LGD, this is what we talked about. And it's happened yet again. LNG have caught back up in gold. They've got a Baron in front of them. And for the first time in about 10 minutes, they've got control of the river again. And they're waiting for someone to walk through. LGD struggling to clear the mid waves. But LNG are waiting. This is dangerous, especially for Chance. He's not going to be engaged on LNG. Back away.
That's the fear of the Infernum. You can see it in their eyes. It's very difficult to actually keep track of Aphelios and what offhand weapon he has at the point.
True.
That's one of the reasons that a lot of times when playing, and guess what, he did have Infernum, so well done, LNG.
Okay. Well, he's about to run out of ammo on that as well, so if I'm not mistaken, we'll go to Cressendum next. Am I right, Clement?
I can't really tell you.
Well, I'm going to say yes. Okay.
I believe in you.
Trust in me.
And another big thing here is that Flandre does have the teleport lead.
Yep.
Also with the 4-1-2, you should be okay against Aatrox at this point.
I mean, I think Flandre right now, a much more impactful teleporter. Rylo's picked up. Looks like Protobelt coming up next as the third item, while Colt has just finished his Maw of Malmortius and is building himself up as we speak. But LNG moving back towards the Baron. And you can see now, Maple much more inclined to match the LeBlanc. Feels a lot more comfortable as he's getting closer towards the Righteous Glory. So LNG right back in this game, and in fact, favoring the 5-on-5 that you were talking about there before, and how hard it is for LGD to execute this next fight.
Yeah, LGD are much more based around pick, and pick only comes with vision advantage most of the time. So they're going to find it very hard to actually walk in. Yuuki goes in, doesn't find the chains there, unfortunate for him.
that kind of stuff needs to land. In the last fight we saw, even out of Colt, the Q's landing would have made a bigger difference in the fight. So execution here for LGD, a very big deal in this game number 3.
And you gotta love Flandre's build right here. His build is basically, I'm gonna kill Aphelios whenever I see him.
True.
That's the Rylai already.
And that's what he threatens here in front of the Baron. 3K, this is going down fast into Peanut. He uses the ultimate. Peanut cannot go for a smite still. The power of Mordekaiser compels you as LGD now getting turned on by LNG. That's a good ult by Chance, but no one's there to deal the damage. Kramer is running in. The Moonlight Vigil is there, available to use, but he hasn't done it just yet. Duan gets tagged by Peanut, but the Realm Warp, they all get out, and they took Chance with them.
It's clean overall fight. That was basic 101 split pushing. Flandre with the TP lead. Colt, you can see it in his summoner cooldown, still doesn't have it, has to respawn bot lane, and there was no real help for him. They couldn't pin Mordekaiser there, they couldn't stop with the 4v5, 2 behind in vision. At least they're going to get this consolation prize.
But at the very least, LNG is saying, well, it's not your soul. That's fine. They've got another 5 minutes to threaten that if you're LGD. Meanwhile, in those 5 minutes, how much damage does LNG do with this Baron? There's going to be a lot. There goes the mid lane turret, and the breakage begins, as at least the wave clear from Kramer is doing quite a bit.
And this is a composition that can tower dive quite easily. If you look at XX, and you asked this question, you know, who actually builds Cinderhulk on on his Jarvans?
Yeah.
XX does.
XX does, you're right.
He knows his job on this team, and as long as they see another split pusher somewhere, look at the top and bot wave, someone has to respond to that one. If they see someone, they'll instantly engage on this.
Half health here for the mid lane. I love that. I love that we're having that discussion about jungle Jarvan and tank versus non-tank, and we just see XX appear the very next game, or series rather. But meanwhile, in this dimension, Maple has picked up the inner turret, and he continues forward. Asura destroyed half the health of that mid lane turret, and he's going for it again. Right now, this is just so hard to deal with if you're LGD. There's none of these side lanes that you can run into and hope to survive. And mid does a hell of a lot of damage, and you need 3-4 people.
It's already one tower taken down with the Baron buff. Peanut is looking for this kill onto Maple.
But XX is nearby. And I feel like if you're a Rise with Righteous Glory, you're happy to take a 1v2 at this point.
Yeah, he has a lot of HP to actually work through. I don't think you can get the burst before someone rotates.
Flandre's doing his own work in the bottom lane, meanwhile, with Proto Belt now complete. No one wants to be near him either. There's the inner turret in the mid lane. Clement, LNG. They're looking clean with this Baron. And LGD got their head in their hands, wondering what to do next.
Much more experienced team coming in from LNG. They're going to push towards the bot side, and LGD need to engage at some point. They should have done it at the outer turrets. They're basically letting the 1-3-1.
Oh, and the Moonlight Vigil will actually land. Yeah, Gravitum helps out quite a lot, but look at what LGD are committing for this kill. Maple gets away, and the inhibitor's going to go down. LNG don't care. Used everything on Maple. We just got the base. Yeah,
that was a half-hearted attempt, to put it mildly. 2 members trying to get the catch. No chains landed. Ult used, but Maple gets away scot-free once again, pops his Righteous Glory, and is out of there.
So what are we learning about LGD this game, Clement?
I think their shot calling needs some work.
Okay, so
Colt is obviously very young.
Yeah.
I think from most of it, what you can see.
I think you can see the skill out of the player.
Yeah.
The mechanics out of the player is good. But you're right, the shot calling.
This is what I say about LPL teams, is it's always about synergy and always about cohesion. You need to know what your team is playing towards most of the time, and you need to practice that. The greatest equalizer in esports is time. Like, you only have set amount of time to practice one composition, be good at it, be familiar at it.
Very true.
And LGD has always been that team that, you know, it's kind of stuck in between where they really want to go. Yuuki was actually a huge Azir player last split. Was his most played champion. And they tried to time the power scaling up with Kramer's Ezreal, and that just didn't work out. So I really want to see what this LGD roster does. I think they have a lot of potential in their pieces.
But it's a long road,
Yeah,
right?
It's just the direction they have to set first.
Whereas maybe for LNG, it's a bit more realistic within the split. I mean, that's the curiosity, isn't it? That the hope wasn't there for XX and Maple, but I think a lot of analysts put hope in Peanut coming into the roster looking strong, the potential of the rookies that we see in front of us in Chance and Colt.
I mean, if you look at LNG and what they've been doing, it's a very clear goal that they're just going to have Xiongxiong as the main initiator throughout most of these team fights. He has a very defined way that he plays the game. He hard forces ganks, he hard forces initiations. But if the rest of the team can follow up in the right conditions, that's actually a plus for your team.
Plus, you said he's a dominating voice, you know, like he was shot caller before. And now coming into this roster, I'm curious at the dynamic between him, Flandre, and Duan. As we saw in 2019, that Duan was a very dominating voice, but Peanut has to be careful there. We're 32 minutes in. We're waiting for that next Baron. LNG were able to break the base towards the bottom side. Now looking towards the Infernal to deny that soul away from LGD.
The most important thing for me is actually just playing keep away for Kramer. Look at his items. He does have the QSS complete, so he can pop out of the Death Realm if necessary. This will be the Dragon Soul for LGD and represent a good chance for them to get themselves back into the game. They could take the team fight off of the Soul if they get it.
LGD are hell-bent on contesting this one right now. Peanut over the wall, but they know he's there. Flandre takes him to the Death Realm, so LGD run in. The Dragon has been taken away by the Jarvan, so it's 3 apiece. And LGD wondering, do they go in now? Colt finds himself a pullback onto Flandre, but that's it.
Still a lot of ultimates up. Kramer still holding on to his Moonlight Vigil, and LNG aren't willing to push this one further.
No, but look at the bottom wave. Someone actually has to deal with that. There's super minions crashing into the base. LGD are just going to leave it up to the Aatrox, but that's while they think about getting the Baron.
This is very measured play from LNG. They didn't engage because they knew they could put themselves in an even higher percentage play here. Forcing someone back, they're going to have full control of the Baron pit at this point.
Very close. Nexus turret almost drops down. Colt's going to make sure that wave gets nowhere near the turret for now. You can see LGD were waiting for that pick play in the brush. But LNG didn't bite. They dropped the ward. They pushed them away. And it's back to square one. Baron sitting there and waiting. And LNG have the gold lead. They have the item advantage. And they have the team fight advantage as we were talking about before.
Yep, and it's also, they have a very simple way to play this game. Just wait until someone has to teleport from the bot side. The inhibitor is not coming up until another minute, so should still be full control over to LNG.
Did they just start the Baron again? Remember last time LNG just decided to rush it and played with LGD's hearts in the process. They're starting it again. It's round 2.
All right, we need to see Colt teleport and join this fight as well.
Remember, Death Realm's available. Look, watch Flandre. Death Realm into Peanut. Now, where's the smite? It comes through eventually, but wow, that ult from Kramer. The Solar Flare to follow up. He has to flash because XX has dunked him. Flandre comes out of the Death Realm, and this Mordekaiser is massive. Colt scavenges whatever he can, but the fight's over, and with it, maybe the game.
Yeah, this looks like GG for LGD. They couldn't really get any purchase into the Baron pit itself. I felt the teleport was actually very late coming in from Colt. It was not synchronized with Yuuki whatsoever, and they sort of walk in haphazardly one by one. Peanut accidentally pulls Flandre right next to Yuuki as he comes out of Death Realm.
And look, Flandre's franked the tank right now. He doesn't die, and he whops a mighty punch. 7-1-4 here on the top lane, Mordekaiser. LNG strike true. They knock down LGD, and there's a lot to be developed this season. This is where they start.
A new hope for this roster in LNG. They were the guys that took down IG, surprised everyone in the playoffs 3-0, but it wasn't enough. They went into rebuilding immediately afterwards, and this is what they're showing us right now. Very clear shot calling coming in from the mid and jungle, able to outmaneuver LGD in most instances.
The question really stands, you know, what new dynamic can we see with this team that we haven't already seen in this matchup? How does LNG perform against those higher up teams? Because LGD gave them a run for their money at some points, but these last 2 games, when LNG took control, they dominated, and they smacked and sat LGD right back in their place.
If you're looking at LNG from the previous split, the thing they need the most is actually early game presence. coming in from their mid jungle.
Yeah.
Because the last time around, they didn't really have that much cover for Asura, even though he was the main carry on the team. He did actually get his lane constantly invaded on, was very behind in gold lead, and I think that's what you're going to get with Xiongxiu and Maple. They're going to have a lot more say so far in the early games that we've been seeing. You know, Xiongxiu has been pretty pressing in terms of getting his ganks down.
I would say as well that for me, I like, how can I put this? I like that XX and Maple have been given a new chance in a new environment. XX and Maple, both individually in their teams, were kind of called the weakness. When you're in a team with Knight, it's hard to look. It's hard not to look as good as Knight. When you're in a team with SMLZ and Sword Art, and originally Langxing and Suning, I'm talking about, then it's hard not to look like the weakness. So Maple and XX step out of that, and they step into a new light in LNG. I think this is going to be a very good year for them.
Yeah, hopefully they're going to look at the bar and where it's set. Last time around, they did take it all the way into playoffs on LNG, so they're going to have to meet that. They're going to have to be top 8 in the LPL.
Yeah. If they can do that, then this is a brand new LNG.